Hi, Gabe. We're sitting in the lobby of the hotel. Is this the Hilton that we're in?
Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn in Orlando. And you've got something there in front of you. What is that?
That's my bracket from the state tournament.
And who's at the end of that bracket?
It's me.
What does that say? Beyer?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean?
Does this mean I'm the champion?
So we talked last night or 2 nights ago after the first couple rounds, and before you wrestled the semifinals, and you gave kind of a prediction of how things would go for you. Do you remember what you said?
I did. I said quick pin. I didn't come out the case, but I still came on top.
So in your semifinals match, you did end up wrestling Rowdy Driggers, right?
Yes, sir.
How did that match go?
It went good. I pushed the pace, got a takedown the first period, and then just the rest of the match rolled out, and I ended up winning 3-2.
3-2, right? And how'd you feel about that match?
I felt great. I felt like I had some stuff I could have improved on. I could have worked harder, got more takedowns,
But a win is a win, right?
Yes, sir.
Smart match. And then basically sat around for the better part of a day, took a nap, took a shower, right?
Yes, sir. After that match, I went back. I ate a bunch. I went to the hotel, took a shower, and then went back and we did the walkout for the 1A, 2A, 3A, and we wrestled.
What was that like to walk out, knowing that the lowest you could place at state is second with all those guys?
It was nice, but I couldn't be satisfied second. I worked so hard this whole year that it finally paid off.
Any nerves walking out on the mat with all those kids?
There was a good bit of nerves there, but it was mostly just, I think my brain really, and my driving and willingness to win and like wanting to win overcame the nervousness. So.
You seemed really focused there.
Yes, sir.
And so after the kind of opening ceremonies, they let the guys who are going to wrestle the heavier weights go back into the stands and sit with their families, right?
Yes, sir.
And you came up and sat with us. What's it like sitting in the stands watching folks wrestle when you know that you're probably not going to wrestle for an hour and a half?
It kind of sucks because you want to go to sleep because you're not tired, but you know you can't because you'll be all lethargic and stuff. But
I mean, you put on your headphones at one point. Why do you do that?
That's just part of getting mentally focused. I like to zone everything else out and just start focusing and just thinking, and music helps me do that.
And what kind of music helps you do that? Church music?
No, sir. I like old 80s and 90s rock.
Rock?
Yes, sir.
Like what?
Like AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, all those.
Good stuff. Any song in particular you'd like to use?
No, sir. I just put my Pandora on.
Okay, and let it go, huh?
Yes, sir.
And one of the interesting things I've seen with you when it comes to all these matches is there's a lot of pacing that goes on before the match, right?
Yes, sir.
A lot of pacing. I mean, maybe an hour's worth of pacing.
Yes, sir.
What are you thinking when you're walking back and forth pacing like that?
I'm just thinking that no one's worked harder than me. I have to go out there and wrestle my match and win.
So you just think that over and over for an hour?
Yes, sir.
Wow. You seem really focused because your dad was trying to get your attention a couple of times and it wasn't working.
Yes, sir.
You just ignore either that or you're just ignoring him. So then yesterday's match is a little bit interesting because they actually started your finals match, and then stopped it at one point. What happened there?
They had to do some more of the award ceremonies. They weren't done doing award ceremonies, and so there was like 10-15 seconds already off the clock, and they had to stop it.
And then they restarted the whole thing again, right?
Yes, sir.
That make you upset?
It did, because it kind of broke focus a little bit, because I had everything going right then, and I was ready right then, and I had to wait another 10-15 minutes before I could wrestle.
Man, it looked tough on both. It looked tough on you and your opponent.
Yes, sir.
So talk about your opponent just a little bit. What do you know what his name is?
It's Michael DeLago.
Where is he from?
Fort Myers High School.
And going into it, what was your strategy for wrestling? What kind of skills does he have?
I knew he's just tall. He's 6'7". He's a big old dude. I know he just likes to stay far and just reach, and I used that to my advantage. I just got him in a Russian, so he couldn't have his hands on me, and I changed and rushed into a double and took him down with that.
So kind of keep him off of you until you can get a hold of him.
Yes, sir.
Is it, have you ever talked to him before?
I have. He's actually a great kid.
And so all right. So take us through the match there. How did round one go?
Round one went good. I won round one. I got a takedown early, I think the first minute or so, and then he got escaped with 20-30 seconds left on the clock after that.
All right. And how are you feeling at the end of round one, or can you remember that?
I was feeling good. I was feeling confident. I knew I was up by one, and I could still, because usually I choose bottom in the second period so that way I can get a free point, and I knew I was confident with where I was at, but I still wanted to keep working.
Yeah. So all three of your last three matches, all of them were 1-point matches, and all of them started out 2-1 in the first, with you getting a takedown and your opponent getting an escape. Is that by design, or is that just something that happened?
It's mostly by design. It's like one of my biggest things is I push the pace in the first. Most heavyweights don't do that. I don't know, for some reason heavyweights like to go into overtimes and win it there, but I like to get my points when I still have 100% energy and 100% strength.
Yeah. It seems like a pretty smart strategy.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, when you get to the end, you're not flailing around trying to get a takedown when you're worn out.
Yes, sir. I don't like to be caught in a scenario where, I have to push, and you get caught to where it's I have to do this to win situation.
Yeah. That seems like a smart strategy. So take us into the second period. Second period coin flip, and who won it?
I won it. I had choice, and so what most wrestlers do is you take your choice on bottom, so that way you get your free stand up, you get a free point, and then you go back to neutral and keep wrestling for one takedowns.
And so is that how it played out?
Yes, sir.
So you chose down, whistle blows, you get an escape?
He rode me for like 15 or so seconds before I got an escape.
You got an escape, and so that puts you up at that point 3-1.
Yes, sir.
All right, and and that's kind of how the second period ended, didn't it?
Actually, no. There was a stalling call called on both of us. We both got hit with a stalling warning, and then after that stalling warning, I got a stalling point from him stalling.
And that was that the third period, or was that in the second period?
That was the end of the second period.
Okay. So both of y'all got hit with the stalling in the second, and he actually got hit twice, so a point for you.
Yes, sir.
So you went into the third period up
4-1.
4-1. And then what was your strategy in the third period?
My third period, he chose bottom of court, so he gets free point, and I'm a lot more confident at neutral and on my feet than I am on top. So I really just rode him for 5 seconds and then cut him, and so I can get back to our feet.
Yeah. All right. And at some point, though, he ended up he escaped, right? He chose down so he chose down to start the third period.
Yes, sir.
He escaped and got a point and made it 4-2 at that point, right?
Yes, sir.
And then it looked like there was a lot of pushing back and forth.
Yes, sir. I got caught where I was just really driving him around the mat and not really working for anything. And I guess they called me for stalling on that, and he actually gave him a point with 30 seconds left, so that made it 4-3. And at that point, I realized if I get hit with the stalling again, we're tied, and I didn't want that. So I just kept on working and then going for a takedown, and he just really got to the point to where he gave up. So
when do you think that he kind of broke and thought, I just don't have this?
I think I would say the last 15 or so seconds, he just wasn't really pushing anymore and didn't work for anything. So.
And when did you feel like, okay, I've got this one?
Definitely, I would say going in the third period, because I was really confident. I still had great wind. I wasn't tired, and I knew nothing. I refused to lose.
So how did it feel when the guy with the little towel or whatever he uses went up, got to get ready to hit the ref?
I honestly, because my coaches always yell at me because I have a bad habit of looking at the clock, and so I stopped doing that. And then I actually heard the tapper counting down. As soon as I heard 4, 3, 2, 1, I was just relieved, and those are the greatest 4 words of my life.
And you knew at that point you'd won a state championship.
Yes, sir.
After all the work you put in, you'd won a state championship.
Yes, sir.
What was take us through like the post match stuff. What happened then?
It was very, very emotional. First thing I did is I ran up and I jumped on my coach and gave my coach a hug. And after that, I went to my dad.
Which coach?
Coach Ringel.
Coach Ringel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to my dad. I gave my dad a hug, and I was running around hugging everybody. And then I went to go look for my mom because someone told my mom was still in the stands. And I actually ran up there, and then when I got up there, she was already down on the floor. And so I tried to get back down, and there's some stupid security guard or something that wouldn't let me go, so I had to hop over the rail.
And what happened? You ran over and.
Yeah, they tried to like call more security on me or something, but they just kind of like ignored it.
And did you find your mom?
Yes, sir.
How'd that go?
That was very emotional. The first thing she did, she just told me she loved me and hugged, and then after I had my time cut short with her because I had to go sit on the podium.
You think your mom loves you?
Yes, sir.
What about your dad?
My dad definitely loves me. He's very, very supportive of me.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, and my granddad loves me very much.
I'll leave your uncle out of it. I don't need any accolades. So now you get to go home with this, something that I don't think any of us ever earned as a state bracket. Other than our names, I think we've had Robbins's names in the bracket, but they all dropped out at some point. Not because we wanted to. What comes next? What's with wrestling?
Basically, I'm probably not even going to take a day or two off, and then I'm going to get back to training and train for senior nationals.
And that you said on our last interview that's in Virginia Beach?
Yes,
okay. And then where to after that?
I'll have Flow Nationals right after that.
And that's
in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania. Do you know what town in Pennsylvania?
I do not.
Okay. All right, Gabe. Congratulations. We are so proud of you.
Thank you.